Alright guys, today we finish our HTML theory and we move on to another technique used to make websites on the internet, and that's Flash. Now, if some of you are familiar with Flash, you know that Flash has lost its popularity on the mobile device, particularly because of iPhones, but Flash is still very viable as a way to do websites on the internet and to do neat animations, develop games, and a bunch of other things. And actually, that's what I'm going to show you in a few seconds. So first of all, make sure you know where we are. Okay, we're starting Flash CS4, and you should have your day plans near you, in front of you, so you can follow the ideas I'm going to cover. So I'm going to go through an introduction today. I'm going to show you how to do some basic drawing. We're going to talk about some text, writing variables, letters on the screen. And we're going to talk about layers, symbols and instances. We're going to do a couple little simple animations using the sort of old style frame by frame animation. And we're also going to mention a little bit on sound, and then I'm going to give you a little sample problem to see if you understood the concepts I covered today. Now, where is Flash used? Well, it's used for all kinds of things, from education to obviously fun and games to advertisement and everything else. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with this program or site. It's called Frog Guts, but what it allows you to do is to simulate dissecting a frog. All right, and it's kind of neat. I'm just going to press demo for a second, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this would let you use a scalpel and everything else to cut apart the frog, and it's kind of a neat simulation using Flash. Okay, so if you get a chance, go to that site. It's kind of a neat little program. You get a scalpel, you get to cut open the frog and things like that. Other things you can do with Flash, kind of a fun, goofy site, but you can take a look at this. You can change his face, change his expressions. Again, all done with Flash. That's called monoface. Another example of what you can do with Flash. This isn't a fun thing. It's more like cataloging pictures. Kind of neat. They all go on sort of a board here, and you can move them around, organize them by whatever. You can blow them up and then take a look at them. And some of them are videos, some of them are pictures. Okay, so it's kind of a way to organize your thoughts. Some people use Flash to design houses, to do sort of drafting or AutoCAD. And of course, you can play some games. This one's kind of a simple game. You probably know a lot more other sites that have better games than this, but let's just take a look at the graphics involved, because it's kind of cool. Now, I could have redesigned the soapboxes, changed the players, changed the faces, changed everything. Okay, and I can go left and right with the keys, and you get kind of a 3D look to it. Whoa, hit the wall there. So these are some of the things that people do with Flash. Okay, from just your basic websites to fun things like games to goofy things like the monoface to educational things like Frog Guts. Alright, now what we're going to do is now start up Flash and take a look at how you use it. Now, on your computer at school, you'll be looking at Flash. It'll probably be in the Adobe section, CS4. I'm going to start it up right now here on my computer. I don't know if you can exactly see where it is on my screen, but at school it'll be in Adobe Web Standard CS4, and when you press Flash, you're looking for CS4, Adobe Flash, and there it is starting up. Okay, now when you start Flash at the beginning, you're going to see the screen, and you're going to be given a choice of two things: ActionScript 3 or ActionScript 2. Now, we're going to use ActionScript 2. Alright, it's just the language that we're going to program in later on. And a screen like this will appear. Actually, hopefully yours looks more like this. Okay, now if it doesn't look like this, see where it says Classic, yours might say Designer, or it might say Animator. Try to put it to Classic. Alright, that's the one we're going to use to do most of our stuff. Also up here, your screen might look like that. Alright, so we're going to widen it a little bit so that it looks like that. Okay, now, what are all those bits and pieces that I'm looking at? Well, these little things here are all your tools. This in here, where the white is, that's called the stage. That's where you're going to put all your pictures and animation. And this up here is the timeline. That's where you're going to tell the computer to show me a picture for a certain amount of time and then stop and go to something else. Okay, now do these examples along with me, and the first idea is going to be drawing basics. So we're going to press this little square here, and you can hold it long enough. There's your basic shapes that you can draw. I'm going to pick a rectangle, and notice here it's going to be drawn in blue with a red outline. So I'm going to draw it right there. Okay, no big deal. Let's press down again, and we'll pick an oval. This time I'm going to pick a different color. I'm going to pick yellow, and the outline is going to be kind of light blue. I'm going to draw a big circle right there. Okay, nothing special so far, but now when you want to manipulate these pictures, you're going to have to press the arrow. Okay, now watch, if I press it once, I haven't really picked the whole shape. Watch what happens when I drag this away. Whoa, it's two parts. It has an inside part and an outside part. Let me undo this for a second. Also, you might have noticed, and I'm going to double click, that when I move it away, it ate away at the one underneath it. Because when you're drawing, you're basically drawing on the same level. It's not like two separate levels. Everything's together, so one thing is going to wipe out the other. Let's do it one more time. Okay, and I'll draw it right in here. And again, remember, it always has two parts. So if you drag it just once like that, you forgot the outline. So you double click and drag it, and you see how it ate away at the other one? So that's the first rule you should understand when you do drawing. That when you draw, you're drawing it all on the same level. And actually the technical name for that is layers. And whatever you draw will eat away at the other one. Now, there is a way to fix it. I'm going to show you later, but for now, that's what you got to realize. Now, other things, like how do you move stuff around or rotate it? When you click on stuff, you got other choices, right? And obviously, you can move it. And again, if you don't double click, it's not going to go all together. So make sure you double click, and then when you move it, it all goes together. Other things you can do, if you go up here, there's this thing called the free transform tool. When you press it, you get all these little black dots. And when you get really close to the edge, you can rotate. So that's kind of cool. All right, so make sure you're practicing these as we go along. So there's rotation. You can either do these things called skew lines, where you can drag it and sort of stretch it out, squish it in. You can grab it here. Look at that little line that's showing up, and you can distort it like that. So there's all kinds of neat things that you can do. You can move the center of rotation. Now watch what happens when I rotate it now. It's rotating around that center point that I moved. You're going, but sir, where is that again? You click, there it is right there, that little circle. Move it wherever you want, and then when you rotate, it rotates along there. So there's all kinds of cool things that you can do with this knowledge now. Okay, let's clear the screen. So we'll do a close, and we won't save it for now. We're going to save later on. And we'll click Flash ActionScript 2 again. Start on a blank screen. Next idea I want to teach you is called Text Basics. And basically that means how do you type letters and make them look nice. So we're going to press the letter T. And once you activate it, you can make like a rectangle. Alright. Now, how big is the letters? What color is it? When you go over to the right-hand side, over here, this is where you're going to find the fonts and the colors and everything else. So there's the size right now, 37. You put your finger down, you can make it even bigger, right? This is the color that you're drawing, and if you don't want that one, we'll change it to dark blue. And then we'll just try type in something really simple. Say Jean de Buff. Didn't fit on one line. Not a problem. You can press the arrow and then grab this and stretch it out. Still doesn't fit. Stretch it out some more. Still doesn't fit. Keep going. If it doesn't fit any farther than that, then you're in trouble. Then you can change the font to a smaller font until it does fit. Okay? So that's what it takes to type in text. Now, you can move the text around like you could a few seconds ago. You can press this and you can rotate the text And then you can do some really cool stuff. This is a bit trickier, but you can do this thing called the filter. So hopefully you've got it right here at the bottom. And then way down at the bottom, add filter. Whoa. Drop shadow. That looks cool. Okay, so you see what I've done now? I've added a neat effect, a drop shadow, and it looks a lot better. Alright, so that's it for text basics. Really straightforward, simple stuff that you can do with text. Okay, concept number 3, layers. Really important concept. So you know that first example I did with you guys where I drew a couple of shapes and then when I pulled one away, it pulled away at the other? There's a way to fix that so you can simulate one thing being in front or behind another. And it's called layers. And you see the word layer right here, right? So I'm going to call this the red layer. And you'll see why in a second. I'm going to pick the color red. And I'm going to draw a circle. And I'm going to put it right in the middle. Okay? So there's the red layer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this little file folder, little picture there. And it makes a new layer. And I'm going to call this layer green. And of course then I'm going to change this to green. Okay, and I'm going to draw a rectangle over top of the red. Okay, now let's see, remember that thing I did before where I double clicked and I moved it? Hey, it's not eating away at the other one this time. It's almost like you've got, like when your teachers used to use overheads, and you've got one overhead on top of the other. You could move the other one out of the way, and the other one's still there. Now here's the really cool thing to make you understand this. Watch what I'm going to do. See where it says red? I'm going to put my finger down on it, and I'm not going to let go, and I'm going to push it up above the green. Now watch what happens. The red moves in front of the green. And this is kind of a trick we're going to use later on when we start to simulate having things go in front or behind buildings, in front, behind objects on the screen, like a man moving across the screen or something like that. Really important idea called layers, and you can have tons and tons of layers. You can have one layer in front of another one, behind another one, in front of another one, and that adds to the functionality of your screen. Now, what if you want a layer that's like your background to the whole game or something, right? So what you would do is you'd add another layer, and actually this one's going to go right in the back, so I'm going to drag it down to the bottom, and I'm going to call this one my background layer. And how do you change the background? Well, when you're on this layer, right, you can tell the computer to change the color that you want to use. You can load in a color from the computer. It's up to you. So basically, you click on the stage, so to speak. Okay, there it is right there. Background color right now says white, and you can make it, what would go good? Yellow. And there's your background. Okay, now what if instead of that you wanted a whole picture? Alright, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go File, Import to the stage. We're going to do the library one in a few minutes, but import to the stage. And what you do is you go on the internet, get a picture, maybe make one yourself, whatever. Go onto your computer, find some picture that you've got saved on your computer. And I think I have one already pre-made for us. So we're in the Flash site, and we're going to go into... Yep, there's a picture of our school. Whoa. Now if it gets too big, you can zoom a bit. So I'm going to click here, I'm going to make it 50%. And let me just drag this for a second. So we're on the background layer, right? There it is right there. That's the background layer. But look, this is the actual size of the screen. So this is way too big. So what can you do? Well, you can press this, and you can shrink this to make it sort of match the background. Okay, and so now you can have an actual picture be the background. All right, so all kinds of cool things that you can do. Now, the really important trick is zooming out, because this is the actual size of your scene, right? So you got to make it sort of come close to matching that. All right, so that's some basic ideas. We're going to do a part 2 to this video where we're going to now get ready to do a simple animation.